Welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. In this video, we're going to cover the Colt Mustang. In 1983, Colt introduced the Mark IV series in .380 ACP. That pistol was essentially a slightly scaled-down version of the 1911. In 1986, Colt simplified the design and made it a little smaller and sold it as the Mustang. The following year, an alloy-framed lightweight version was released called the Mustang Pocket Lite. While these pistols did sell, they were not as popular as Colt had hoped, and production ended in 1998. After some time passed, the concealed carry movement swept the country, creating demand for smaller, easily concealed pistols, which created a secondary market for used Colt Mustangs to use in that role. Colt saw this demand, and so in 2011, they brought back the Mustang Pocket Lite pistol, and to keep up with changes in consumer tastes, brought out the Mustang XSP, a polymer-gripped version of the pistol, in 2013. In 2015, the XSP was phased out and replaced with the Mustang Lite, a slightly even further simplified polymer-framed version of the Mustang. Today, both the alloy-framed Pocket Lite version as well as the polymer-framed Mustang Lite are still available. Today we're going to focus on the Mustang Lite. The Mustang Lite is a polymer-framed single-action hammer-fired pistol in .380 ACP. It has a capacity of 6+1 and is 5.5 inches long and 3.9 inches high. It's just slightly over an inch wide and weighs in at 11.5 ounces empty. Let's take a closer look. And as always the case, before working on any firearm, you want to make sure that it is free and clear of any ammunition. So first we'll go ahead and take the magazine out. It is clear. And see the chamber area, and it is clear as well. So we are safe to go ahead and look at the controls and features of the Colt Mustang 380. So first of all, it is a hammer-fired, single action only firearm. So all the trigger does is it serves to release the hammer. So the hammer has to either be cocked back manually or by action of the slide. It does have a safety. Down is fire, up is safe. It can be carried with the hammer cocked and on safe in what's called cocked and locked. That way it is ready to fire. However, the safety is on. When you're ready to fire, you would just simply pull the safety down and then pull the trigger to fire. Now the safety on this firearm is ambidextrous. The magazine release, which is right here, is not. It is only on the one side. Simply push in to release the magazine. There again, it is not ambidextrous. The only control that is ambidextrous is the safety. We have the slide lock there. That's also the disassembly pin. The magazine, this section right here, pushes in internally on that so that after the last round, it will lift that up into this cutout on the frame to hold the slide, or on the slide rather, to hold the slide back. So as it recoils back, it would lock into place to hold the slide. To release, you'd simply pull down on it, like so. If there was no magazine in it, that could also be done manually. Just lift up on it. It is under spring tension to keep it normally down. So as far as disassembly, first we'll talk about the sights. It does have dovetailed drift adjustable rear sights. The front sight is integral to the slide and is not adjustable or replaceable. It is a polymer frame firearm with a steel slide. So the disassembly pin goes through the frame, so it can be pushed on from there to aid in disassembly. There again, the slide release is the disassembly pin as well. It has the little cutout notch in the slide. You would align that with the retention portion of the pin assembly, which is right about there, and then you'd be able to lift that up. So it's easier to go ahead and have the hammer cocked back. It's just less spring tension to overcome. You'd want to align that section for the disassembly pin. Once that's aligned, you can lift up from the other side. There we go. And then the pin comes out. Then the slide will just come off the front. Take a look at the frame. We have our metal front and rear rails. This is our ejector right here. That's our disconnector right there that disconnects the trigger from the hammer to keep it semi-automatic. And this is as far, of course we have the hammer there. This is as far as you would want to disassemble this. Any further, you would want to get someone that's confident in this design, a qualified gunsmith. And you'd basically want to clean everything out, clean the rails, wipe everything down, give a coating of oil for lubrication and corrosion prevention. And that's pretty much as far as you would want to disassemble this. On the slide, we have our recoil spring assembly here. It's a dual spring assembly, and it's a non-captive guide rod. So to remove, you'd simply push forward and then lift up. So forward and up. Now, since it's a dual spring, it's not as long. However, it's still not captive, so if it gets away from you, it can go across the room. You have your dual springs. They're nested one inside the other. You have your guide rod. There is this metal, it's like a washer that reinforces the guide rod. It is a plastic guide rod, and that keeps the spring from damaging the guide rod. The barrel assembly itself locks up. Well, let me go ahead and show you. On operation, the pin goes through that section there, and on recoil, it pulls the barrel down, and then that allows the slide to come back. So the barrel can just lift out. Now, for lockup, it's got this groove that's in the top of the barrel section there. Probably easier to see like that. That connects with a matching set of grooves in the slide, and that's what keeps it locked in place. So when it's in its locked position, it's rigid, but as soon as this lifts just a little bit, then that unlocks. So that's how that works. You have your rails on the slide. You just want to clean those out, clean them all, nice, get all the grime out and everything, then light coating of oil. This is as far as you generally need to disassemble this for regular field stripping. However, if you do need to disassemble it further to remove the firing pin, it's just like a miniature 1911. There's our firing pin right there. And this rear plate will remove. The firing pin actually holds to lock it in place. So we just need to get something that can go into there, and you would push in on the firing pin, and then you could lift it. Once you push in on it, and you can remove it, that rear section. Now everything is under spring tension in there, so as you're disassembling it, you want to make sure you keep your finger over it so that things don't fly out. So when that comes off, then you have your firing pin and rebound spring, and the extractor, which I didn't point that out earlier, it's right there. You can see it right there as well. You can just kind of push on that, and it will come out the back. So that's fully disassembled as far as the slide now. So you just want to clean everything off, light coating of oil. Reassembly is just the reverse. So you'd put your extractor in, the little claw goes toward the inside of the gun. You just slide that in. Well, first, this back retaining plate goes into these grooves here. And it also slides into this groove here. So when you're reassembling this, just make sure you line up that groove. And when you're all said and done, the back of it should be flush with the back of the pistol. There is a little flat section. It should be flat to the opening where the hammer goes. Then put your firing pin and rebound spring in. Now on this little cover plate, the rounded section goes in first. So once that's in place, then you would need something to kind of push in on the firing pin. And if you see that little stepped shoulder, that's what goes into the hole there. So you push that in, then slide the cover over, and it is snapping back in place, and that's back assembled. You can put the barrel in just the opposite way you took it out. Make sure it's all the way down in its locked position. Make sure your washer, that reinforcement piece, is on there. Your nested springs. The springs go in the top hole. The flat portion of that guide rod goes against the flat face there of the locking lug, or the bottom lug, and kind of guide it into place and push down, and that's reassembled there. You would align the rails on the frame with the rails on the slide. Now the ejector is spring loaded because, as you can see, it sits up higher than what there's room in the back of the frame. So you just push that down. Now in this particular one, you can just push it and it stays down. Now don't worry, when you put a magazine in, it lifts it right back up. So you can just push that down. It actually makes it really nice as far as disassembly, or reassembly rather. You'd go ahead and slide this on. You would align the barrel, that lug on the barrel with that cutout. You would align it so you could put the pin in, and it goes into that. Then you can, once you push this pin in part way, then you can align that cutout to push it in the rest of the way. Once that's in, you want to function check it, and you're reassembled.
So now that we know how it works, let's see how it does on the range. And today we're out the range with the Colt Mustang in 380. Go ahead and take some shots and see how it does. At the range, I found that its small size and lightweight contributed to recoil that, while not excessive, lets you know you're shooting it. I would hesitate to call it accurate, as its small size and lightweight combined with small sights make for a pistol that I would say is acceptable for self-defense shooting, but the 15 yards I was shooting at would be the limit I would feel confident with it. Of course, as with any pistol, more practice would help to improve that accuracy. So what's the bottom line? Well, it is a high-quality, small and lightweight self-defense pistol. However, at the risk of being hated on by Colt fans, it's not a pistol I can really recommend. The main reason for this is that in a self-defense role, due to its single action setup, you're forced to either carry it cocked and locked, and due to its small size and how it would be carried, I'm just not comfortable carrying it that way, or you would have to manually cock the hammer or rack the slide to put it into action. This makes this pistol a poor choice for someone who's not experienced. The reality is, there are better options that are available today. I hope that this information is of value, and if you like the video, I would ask that you hit the like button and subscribe if you want to continue to see more like it. And as always, until next week, stay safe.